Live at 5, we're live at a Richmond elementary school where a student says she was assaulted by a lunch attendant. A Richmond reporter is investigating.
And in King William, community outcry after a high school football coach is fired, seemingly out of the blue. Hundreds are now petitioning to save his job.
And we're on the ground in Prince George, where a woman was shot in the back of the head, and sources tell 12 it happened in a cemetery. We'll share the new details we're learning.
And we're traveling back in time to just before the civil rights era and the Virginia classroom where an African-American student would pave the way for the desegregation of schools.
On your side, this is NBC 12 Live at 5.
We start tonight in Richmond, where a Westover Hills Elementary School student is accusing a lunch attendant of assaulting her not once, but twice.
And now Richmond City Schools has launched an investigation. Richmond reporter Henry Graff is live outside the school in Westover Hills with what that student's mother is now saying. Henry.
Carla Kirk, good evening. Yeah, Ashley Johnson really just wants to get to the bottom of exactly what happened here. Was her daughter assaulted? And if so, what is going to happen to the lunch attendant now in question over this? Johnson's daughter, Addison Reed, is a student at Westover Hills Elementary School. The third grader says the first encounter happened December 20th, when she says the school employee pulled her hair inside the cafeteria. And then last week, the 8-year-old says that same school employee assaulted her a second time during lunch by grabbing her arm. At the very least, Addison's mother wants the employee reassigned, but she also believes that person should be fired.
Her feelings are more hurt than anything. Her confidence is, suffering because of this. So definitely she's been impacted by it. And I feel, again, sad that I wasn't there to protect her.
Reed's mother says she tried to address the issue with school leaders after that first encounter and really got no response. Now she's upset that it took a second alleged incident for the school to take action here. She also has filed a criminal report complaint with Richmond police over the situation. A Richmond City School spokesperson acknowledges these two incidents and says that this matter is currently under investigation, also adding that the school division takes reports of misconduct very seriously and that they will address this through the end. Live at 5 here in Richmond, I'm Henry Graff, NBC 12 News.
Thanks so much, Henry. Turning now to our forecast, where a cloudy night will turn into a rainy day and a rainy commute.
Wow, meteorologist Jim Duncan joining us now. Jim, it's been a gloomy week.
It has. Every other day, the clouds, and we get the warm up, but then we get the rain, and then it's a dry day and it gets cold like today was. But overall, this week is kind of par for the course for the month of February, at least with the precipitation. There you can see, look down Midlothian Turnpike. Just a lot of cloudiness, the kind of stratiform layered clouds, which typically don't produce heavy rain, but I think we will see kind of a misty drizzle probably developing this evening. 47 degrees our temperature right now, so it's chilly. We only had a high around 50 this afternoon, pretty much what we thought it'd be. And there you can see, again, with that chilly air in place, we just have the clouds. Now, northern Virginia is where there is a bit of rain now falling, and there's even some snow up here in southern Pennsylvania where it's a little bit colder, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of this rain this evening. For your plans this evening, just be prepared. There'll be a little drizzle and mist, I think, but I think the more significant rain does affect us tomorrow as we'll watch a pretty good-sized cold front come into the area. This is a big storm out in the Midwest, and that's what's heading to the east, and yet again brings another cold front through, and yet again temperatures warming up ahead of that system. So coming up in your full first alert forecast in just a few minutes, tracking tomorrow's showers, and a few tonight, but tomorrow especially so. And then the whipsaw temperature moves ahead, up and down and up and down again in that forecast. I'll have all the details ahead for you in just a few minutes. Carl and Kirk.
All right, Jim, thank you. In King William County, a popular high school football coach out of a job, and the community wants some answers. Dylan DeHart has coached at King William High School for 7 seasons. He tells NBC 12 the school system did not give him a reason when he was removed. Jasmine Turner live in King William tonight, speaking to students who are petitioning to have this coach reinstated. What are you learning, Jasmine?
Well, Kurt, right after the final bell rang today, we spoke to several football players who frankly said they are distraught by this news. They tell me that with tears in his eyes, Coach DeHart sat them down after their second period and told them yesterday that he would not be returning for the fall 2020 football season. In an email to NBC 12, DeHart says, quote, "Without warning, a decision was made by the school board to not bring me back as the coach. I was completely taken by surprise. I have not been given any reason for the school board's decision. I still have my teaching position." Former quarterback Lance Alfonso started an online petition to keep Coach DeHart, and it has garnered more than 1,000 signatures in about a day.
This goes beyond football. He's a great man in this community. He does a lot for not just the players and his students, just for the community as a whole. He bleeds black and gold like he always has told us. And he loves King William. He loves us, and we want the best for him, you know, no matter what. And we don't have a ton of information, but all in all, we respect all adults. We respect decisions, but we do believe that he deserves his job.
We're told DeHart is still able to keep his job as a gym teacher and driver's ed teacher, but the school board says that they cannot comment on this because they're saying it's a personnel matter. King William's athletic director also tells us that football operations at the school have been suspended until further notice. But during DeHart's 7 seasons with King William football, the team amassed a 56-25 record this past season. They finished 9-4. As you can imagine, a lot of people shocked here wanting answers. You'll hear more from DeHart's players coming up at 6. Live at 5 in King William County, Jasmine Turner, NBC 12.
Thanks so much, Jasmine. Now to Prince George, where police are investigating after a woman shows up at a fire station and says she had been shot in the head. It happened just before 6 o'clock yesterday evening at the Moody Road Fire Station. Eric Perry joins us now live at 5. And Eric, you spent part of the day in Prince George. What's the latest?
Yeah, Carla, right now we are still working to learn a lot more about this case, but sources tell us the woman is believed to have been shot in a cemetery and then drove herself to the fire station. Now, the woman drove to the Moody Road Fire Station around 5:45 after she was shot in the back of the head. She was then taken to the hospital by rescue crews. Now, at last check, we were told she is in stable condition, and the good news here, she was even able to talk with officials and tell them a little bit about what happened. Those I spoke with in the area say nothing like this has happened in their community before.
Nothing happened on this road. Everybody's friendly, you know, to help each other and all that kind of stuff.
Told it was just the woman inside the car. At this time, police have not released suspect information. We're talking to cemeteries in the area trying to figure out just where this happened. I'll have that when you join us at 6. Eric Perry, NBC 12 News.
Thanks so much, Eric. Live at 5, a woman charged in connection with the murder of a man found dead in his home in the Fan has learned her fate. Nicole Andrews pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of accessory after the fact and robbery charges in the death of Charles Smith. Smith was found dead in his home back in May. Andrews and Donnell Young were initially charged with robbery, and a murder charge was later added. Andrews will serve just over 3 years. Live at 5, 4 Virginia children are found safe after their mother abducted them and then took off to Indiana. 34-year-old Melody Bannister was arrested just after 2 a.m. at a gas station in Plainfield. Her 4 children were found safe in the car, and they're in the process of being reunited with their father. We're told she and her children went missing out of Stafford, but that she also has ties to Henrico. Bannister is being held in Hendricks County Jail.
The Democratic-controlled General Assembly has seemingly been passing new bills every day. Yesterday alone, lawmakers passed a series of bills countering decades of conservative laws within the state, among them the assault weapons ban, the decriminalization of marijuana, and granting autonomy to localities regarding decisions about Confederate monuments. Now, for some, crossover day marks a big victory, but Republican leaders, well, they just don't see it that way.
I think Democrats ran their elections last year primarily on trying to take advantage of people's various levels of anger at President Trump on their side, and that the policies being enacted right now are going to be a rude awakening to the majority of Virginians.
In a statement after yesterday's crossover day, House Speaker Eileen Fittercorn says Democrats have kept their promises to voters in passing long overdue legislation.
Tomorrow, thousands of people will converge on the state capitol for the second Virginia March for Life. Pro-life activists say they want their voices heard as lawmakers debate the abortion issue. They will rally at the state capitol shortly before noon tomorrow. The march will take place afterwards, and that means multiple street closures. Portions of Broad, Main, Franklin, and Grace Streets will be blocked from noon until 3. Parking restrictions will be in place starting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Now, we have posted the full list on NBC12.com.
April 15th will be here before you know it, and people always have tax questions, but not everyone can afford to hire a professional. And that's why Diane Walker is on your side tonight in Cole 12 with volunteers from the United Way. Diane.
Hey, Kurt, this is a free program, and I want to remind you that the number to call to reach a representative from Volunteer Income Tax Assistance is 804-345-1212. VITA serves about 3,300 families each year, and they partner with the IRS. It's designed to help lower income families and individuals at tax time so you can file correctly and without any added expenses, so you can fully enjoy your refund or get the information you need if there's a problem. To qualify for the free program, your household must make less than $56,000 a year. It doesn't matter whether you are single or a family of 6. The United Way wants you to know that one phone call might mean more money for you.
There's no harm in calling in just to ask the question of, does this make sense for me or not? If you've got a very simple return, maybe it's not an issue. But there are benefits like the Earned Income Tax Credit and other kinds of credits that can be refunded. It's worth having somebody who has been trained up on that. Just look through it to maximize the return that you have coming to your pocket.
And again, the number to call is 345-1212. The phones are beginning to ring. You might have to provide some documentation, so make sure you have a photo ID, your Social Security card, and your W-2 form. Of course, our phone lines are open until 6:30. Live at 5, Diane Walker, NBC 12.
Okay, thanks, Diane. We're learning more tonight about the man who stole a historic plaque from a Charlottesville square. Next on Live at 5, why he says he felt he really had no other choice.
And we are taking you back in time to a pivotal moment in Virginia history and the remarkable women who helped to trigger change. We'll show you how Barbara Johns kick-started the movement to desegregate schools.
Live at 5, an armed fugitive tied to a 1992 cold case in Maryland is dead. This after an officer-involved shooting in Virginia Beach. The detective from the Montgomery County Police Department in Maryland was trying to arrest the suspect in this decades-old cold case when the suspect pulled a gun. This happened just before 7 this morning. That suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. The detectives involved will be placed on routine administrative leave. No law enforcement officers were injured in this confrontation.
The man accused of stealing a historic artifact from Charlottesville's Court Square is out on bond ahead of a scheduled court appearance. 74-year-old Richard Allen III is set to appear in front of a judge tomorrow on charges of grand larceny for stealing the plaque which marked the spot where slaves were once auctioned. He was arrested Monday, but not before he admitted to the crime. In an interview with the Seaville Weekly, Allen said he did not mean to offend anyone. He thought the placement of the plaque itself was insulting, and after his complaints fell flat, he decided to take action.
Oh, 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 oh.
The Robert Russell Moton Museum in Prince Edward County is a National Historic Landmark.
It paints a vivid picture of the hardships faced by African American students during the Jim Crow era, where everything was separate but supposedly equal. Barbara Johns, at just 16 years old, saw the glaring inequities at her all-black school in comparison to her white counterparts. She spoke up and ultimately contributed to a movement that would change the country.
Anthony Antoine now to take us back to this pivotal moment in time.
In the heart of Farmville, sitting between Main Street and Griffin Boulevard, a museum that was once an overcrowded, segregated high school in 1951. Concerned parents asked the school superintendent for a new building, but it was met with little to no action.
They built those god-awful tar paper shacks around the main building. And to make it even worse, on a bad day, when it rained too much, it rained in the classrooms you were sitting in. And on a cold day, it was too cold for you. They had these potbelly stoves. If you weren't close enough to the potbelly stove, you were just cold in the room. If you were too close, you got too warm. How are you going to study in a room like that?
A replica of tar paper shacks can be found inside the Moton Museum.
These were all outside.
Historian Leah Brown takes you through the horrendous hardships faced by these students, but also honors their tenacity in the midst of terrifying circumstances. April 23rd, 1951. 16-year-old Barbara Johns would take the auditorium stage at Moton and give a passionate speech encouraging her classmates to strike.
We will no longer suffer in silence with injustice all around us while whites blindly ignore our misery and yet pledge liberty and justice for all.
That strike lasted 10 days. NAACP lawyers Oliver Hill and Spotswood Robinson would also get involved under a few conditions.
The parents had to agree to support the students with the lawsuit. Also, they had to sue for integration.
Dorothy Davis and her family was the first to sign on to this case, making her the lead plaintiff. 5 cases were strategically pulled together to become the landmark case we know it as today, Brown versus Board of Education.
One from Virginia, South Carolina, D.C., Delaware, and Kansas. Kansas was the title case because it's not in the South. It's saying that segregation is a national issue, not a Southern issue.
3 years later, in 1954 and 55, came the Brown II decision. The Supreme Court ruled that schools had to desegregate with, quote, all deliberate speed. Now, because of the ambiguity of those words, many state officials, including right here in Virginia, implemented policies that slowed or even stopped integration altogether. Whites-only schools began closing.
The logic was if it's a white school and it's closed, you can't desegregate it.
And whites-only private schools, like Prince Edward Academy, was created by segregationists.
Each student was asked to pay $250, which in the 1959, 60s, that's a lot of money.
It would take another 9 years before Attorney General Robert Kennedy pushed for opening free schools in 1963.
Not a public school, not a private school, but a free school. Any child could come in.
In 1964, another court ruling, Griffin versus School Board of Prince Edward County. It would force public schools to reopen and integrate. Barbara Johns never saw integration in Prince Edward County. After getting death threats, she moved to Alabama. But her resilience on that fateful day made a world of difference.
We wanted so much here and had so little. And we had talents and abilities here that weren't really being realized. And I thought that was a tragic shame. And that's basically what motivated me to want to see some change take place here. There wasn't any fear. I just felt, this is your moment, seize it.
On your side, Anthony Antoine, NBC 12.
Accurate, reliable, breaking weather specialists. This is NBC 12 First Alert Weather.
All right, cloudy skies right now in Richmond. Thick overcast conditions out there, 47 degrees our temperature, and we're going to see a slow fall to the low 40s, probably 40-ish for your low tonight. These are some of the readings now, mid-40s, Goochland, Prince George, and Mechanicsville on our JES weather computers. A chilly day, but not really cold for wintertime, of course, but these are current readings. You can see mostly low to mid-40s to the west. Louise only 43, Charlottesville 44 degrees, whereas we are now in the upper 40s here in central Virginia. A little bit of rain, northern Virginia this evening. I don't think we're going to see a lot of it here in Richmond. We'll see some kind of drizzly skies building into mid-evening. Probably not a lot more than that this evening. More significant rain comes in tomorrow morning as a cold front out here starts to move our way. And that's going to be a pretty important cold front because it has a lot of temperature contrast around it. And anytime you see that big change of temperatures, it produces a big, strong storm. And that's what's out here in the Midwest. And it'll move north of us and it'll bring in those warmer temperatures out of south winds. It'll be shifting later tonight and during the day tomorrow. So there is a slight risk for, a marginal risk rather, for severe storms southeastern Virginia tomorrow from the Storm Prediction Center. We are not in that zone, but I wouldn't rule out maybe an isolated thunderstorm even around here midday tomorrow. But tonight, 40 degrees your temperature. That should say 30% chance of some rain and maybe drizzly skies for overnight. And then the chances go way up tomorrow morning. 70% 8 in the morning, 90% shortly thereafter through noon hour. And temperatures going up as well. 67 degrees will be our high tomorrow afternoon. So this evening, just some patchy drizzle, maybe some light showers, and then toward tomorrow morning, that gets heavier. This is 7 in the morning. Line of showers, maybe thunderstorms coming through mid-morning to midday. This is noon hour, 1 p.m., 2, 3 o'clock, moving off to the southeast, but still a chance of rain through about 4. And I don't think we'll see much clearing around here probably until around sunset tomorrow, about 5:30, 6 o'clock thereabouts. So a lot of clouds tomorrow, 67 for the high, 45 for the high temperature Friday. Of course, Valentine's Day, it's going to be cold, but for the special holiday, Valentine's Day, is going to be nice and sunny. So the sunshine, temperatures in mid-40s, and we're looking pretty good with the sunshine as well for Saturday, but seasonably cold. And then warming up a little bit Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will be our next chance of rain after tomorrow morning. Caroline, Kirk.
All right, thanks so much, Jim. Still ahead, rush hour traffic is painful enough, but for a woman in labor, that phrase takes on a whole new meaning. Next at 5:30, how a family welcomed their new baby into the world while on the highway.
But first, they lived millions and millions of years ago, and yet we're still finding evidence of new dinosaurs. And one student is being credited with the latest species discovery. How he uncovered the Reaper of Death when Live at 5 continues.
A PhD student studying dinosaur bones in Canada has discovered a new species of dinosaur, and its unofficial name is the Reaper of Death. The set of bones had actually been placed in storage at the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta 10 years ago. That's where Jared Voris comes in. He was looking at all of the Tyrannosaur bones to study evolution when he noticed the set was different than the rest. Turns out it was a new species altogether. The fossils are roughly 79 million years old.
You've still got time to smooch a pooch, but you better hurry. It's until 6 o'clock tonight at the Richmond SPCA. You can bring your pup or pose with one of the rescue dogs for a Valentine's Day photo shoot. Of course, it's all for a good cause. There's a suggested donation to help support local homeless animals at the shelter. The SPCA also reducing all pet adoption fees by 25% through Valentine's Day.
So this has become a Valentine's Day tradition at the Richmond SPCA. We invite people to either bring their own pup or to kiss one of ours. All of the proceeds benefit the programs and services at the Richmond SPCA.
And maybe you're more of a cat person than a dog person. That's fine too. The booth isn't exclusive to dogs. You can kiss a kitty as well. Again, the kissing booth runs until 6 tonight. Well, we are moments away from the news at 5:30.
Diane Walker standing by with a preview. Diane?
Hey guys, Virginia lawmakers took big steps in the process of decriminalizing marijuana yesterday. But ahead at 5:30, hear why some groups say it might not be in the best interest for all Virginians. Plus, the search for a missing 6-year-old girl in South Carolina is now in its second day. What we're learning from investigators, plus the new video they just released. Those stories and more when you join us for the news at 5:30.